back to the PurlCast number, I don't know what number it is. It doesn't matter. I'm here with my knitter friends and co-hosts for the PurlCast, Lindsay and Jill. So we're going to talk about knitter slang and all the different terms that people use for, that's really, language that's just for knitters. I mean, because you don't hear this stuff anywhere else, and some of it's really funny. And when we were talking about this episode, some of the things you guys were sharing with me was totally new for me. I mean, and I think some of it's maybe regional and what knitting circles you hang out with, and I don't know. So, but first, how are you? We haven't talked since the retreat.
I know. I'm so excited just to be talking to you guys.
I mean, we message a little bit here and there, but we haven't
seen each other,
visited really since we all got back from our Purl Together fall retreat in Ogden. It was super fun. Had a lot of fun. Learned a lot of stuff. I learned stuff. You learned stuff. It was a great weekend. So everyone, viewers, you guys will have to join us next year.
Yes, please come.
Yep. Watch for information about that probably after the first of the year, because I got to have a little break between things, and we're going to be doing some Christmas knitting on the channel. So,
yay!
Yeah. Ornaments, baubles, baby, teeny weeny. I don't know. I'm surfing for patterns. We'll be surfing for patterns in the patron group and voting on that. So if you want to become a patron, that's one of the little perks, is you get to vote on the knit-alongs and suggest things that you like. Yay!
Become a patron.
Become a patron.
Yay.
We'll put the link down below. Yeah.
May I just say that, Lindsay, your hair looks very nice today.
Lindsay's hair always looks.
Oh, thank you.
I know, but it looks especially nice. I really like it.
I also got new shampoo, and I feel like it's shinier. So, Jill, your cup.
Yes. Hold it up so everyone can see your cup. All you knit is love.
I take it to work with me, so when I want to be knitting and can't be knitting, at least I see it and it makes me happy. It makes me think of friends.
Nice. Because Jill won that as a door prize at the retreat. That's why.
Which is just really crazy. It
was great. Great fun.
It is not. Somebody else should have won.
Why?
She says as she drinks from the cup, so.
Why? That's nonsense.
So. Okay. Yeah. Moving along.
Okay, so moving along. What are you working on? Let's talk about whips.
My work's in progress.
Socks?
Socks. I have... Oh, gosh darn it. And I thought I was all prepared. I just have the one. I have Jim's. I'm looking around like he's going to watch the video. Like he's going to
Also, he knows you're making them.
Excited to try them on. This is the second one. But and I can't believe I don't have.
Was that inside out? Let's hang on. Was that inside out?
For a reason.
No reason.
All right,
yes,
go ahead.
It is. He has larger calves. And so what I thought was, no, don't be looking at me this way. This is a thing. And I took very careful notes on Ravelry, and that's how I made the first sock, which is actually over there. I won't go get it. So two things. One, so that way I ensured that the sock would fit up his leg. And then I flip it around
Hold on. Why would it not fit around his leg if you knit the right way?
Do you want to know? Because when you knit around the outside diameter of the circle, if you knit around the outside diameter of the circle, you're carrying the yarn around the outside rather than the inside diameter. So it is slightly larger. Her gauge will be slightly larger. It is true. That's why with Fair Isle knitting, often people with Fair Isle knitting knit out. If you're doing color work and you're worried about your floats being too tight or puckering when you're carrying yarn behind, that is a technique used for stranded color work.
Yes.
Your face looks pained.
I just feel like it's an excuse.
No, well.
It is. No. It is not, because.
It is for color work. It is a valid technique for color work to keep your floats more loosely. That is true. And mathematically, you can see that mathematically. That going around the outside of a circle is a larger circumference than the inside of the circle.
And this is a choice. See, before it was not a choice. This is a choice.
And she's
#boss knitter.
And she's the boss.
So, so then when I get to the heel, I flipped it right side out and did it. Anyway, I have it over there. You can't see it. But what I did decide was, after I knit that sock, it's so large, I can do a sweater. Dude, that sock is like the size of my arm. It's size 13.
Of course you can do a sweater. You know why? So the Yarn Harlot, who everybody knows I love, Stephanie Pearl McPhee, so funny. She was talking about people being afraid to knit a sweater, but in terms of like actual number of stitches, if you're knitting a pair of socks with like size 1 needles or whatever, obviously depending on the size, I mean, you're not talking about a trench coat here, but the size of a sweater, it is not unreasonable to be comparing the two in terms of number of stitches. It's really not. So, yes, you can knit a sweater.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I have one of his socks done, and this is the second sock.
Because this is a knitter term, second sock syndrome. You don't have second sock syndrome.
I don't. I just have too many projects.
You're not a monogamous knitter anymore.
I know, but I need another pair. So I knit that pair of socks, my little socks of triumph, and I only have one pair of socks. I love them. They are so stinking warm. It's like a yarn hug.
It is a foot hug.
New term.
Yeah.
Socks
Yarn
are
hug.
a yarn hug.
I know.
On your feet.
Yeah.
So now I need another pair. So when he tried them on, I did have him try them on just to make sure I got it over the heel, and my son was with him, who has size 12 and a half shoes, and he's like, hold on, Mom, if they don't fit him, can I have them? I'm like, okay, here, just try them on me. And he's like, oh my gosh, these are so soft. These are the best socks. So,
and he's not a big sock person.
No, he's not. So I'm thinking, I'm not sure if I'm going to get my second pair of socks super soon.
Oh, you mean for yourself? Maybe not.
Yes, for myself, because I had this much of the socks. I really wanted it for the retreat. So I have a pair for myself started, but then I stopped so I could actually finish some of my other projects.
Yeah, sure.
So, yep. Then I have the Second Avenue shawl, which I started.
Oh.
Yeah. Long story. So it's wonderful. And if I didn't think I could knit a sweater before, holy cow, doing a shawl of this size in sock yarn.
You can now.
The sweater. So far.
Yay!
So far, this is what I have. I did have more, except I made the stripes in the wrong color the first time. I got this far, and then I had to pull them out. So they're
But you're doing it. Those are 2 rows each?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. 2 rows each, and then these are scallops, which I'm really tempted just to steam so they'll lay out so I can look at them all pretty while I knit.
You could. You could do that.
You could.
Yeah.
Right
So that's what
we'll post everything down in the bottom. Second Avenue shawl. We'll put links to that in the bottom, and remind everybody what yarn you're using for that.
I am using the yarn that I picked up on my vacation, my traveling yarn.
Right.
Another term. This is local dyed from Whitefish, Montana. And it is Polka Dot Sheep.
Polka
Dot Sheep.
Yep.
And it is the Iron Horse base, which is 75% merino and 25% silk.
Nice.
It's really nice. It's going to be really nice. I'm excited.
I love vacation yarn. Yarn tour. Yes. Travel tour yarn.
Traveling yarn. It doesn't count. Like if you have too much in your stash, it doesn't really count as stash because it's traveling yarn.
It is not a stash acquisition. I don't think so.
Nope.
But you can make up your own rules about that.
Yep. So my knitter friends, gave me a present when we went to knitting last week because I had a birthday, and so they decided what I really needed to go outside of washcloths, and then I got. So that was when I did the Gaptastic cowl, and then the next year I got a sock book and sock yarn. And so I have yarn, and they sent me a copy of The Shift by Andrea Mowery. Yep.
Lovely.
So, a gray, which is definitely my favorite, and this is FrogTree Pediboo sock yarn, 80% merino wool and 20% bamboo.
Oh.
That's sock yarn? It looks so thick.
Yeah.
It's probably sport-ish. Sport weight, maybe?
And it says sock yarn.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah.
What is it? Does the label give an indication for stitches per inch or gauge recommendation?
8 stitches per inch.
Yeah. Okay.
Or to get gauge. That's what it says.
So yeah, it's heavier though. It's heavier sock yarn.
Yeah, it is. It's a heavier.
It looks like it, even though it says 8 stitches per inch. But who knows? We'll see.
I know. So then they gave me 2 other colors, the Berroco Milliifiore light. So this is like oh gosh darn it, the light's terrible. That's a blue greeny color.
And show me the label on the yard again and what's it called? Oh, Milliifiore.
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen that.
And that is a purpley pinky.
Now, is that single ply?
Yes.
And what's the fiber content on that one?
It's 50% wool, 50% acrylic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And you have enough for the shift shawl, the shift?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, so that will be one that I will start. So that's what I have in progress.
Or not quite in progress.
Not quite in progress.
But that's what you have in planning phase.
In planning phase. And I have a hat.
Yay.
Yep, I love my hats. So
cute.
that was my present to myself when I had to rip out all the 2nd Avenue.
So what's your hat made of?
A nice little palette cleanser.
Yes.
Yes.
And what's your hat made of? That's comfort knitting. When you go back to what you know because you got like messed up with something.
If you're mad.
So, well, first tell me what hat pattern that is and what yarn you used, and then I'll talk about a term that relates to this that I hadn't heard before today.
Perfect. It is on it's on my Ravelry page. It's called a neon striped hat. Right. It's just one of like the yarn brand patterns kind of a deal. But this one is made just out of a Cascade superwash. Right. And it's in the colors of our local high school. So when I went to go to the marching band festival, I wore it and it kept my head very warm.
Nice.
Happy girl.
So speaking of the shawl that you were unhappy about, one of the terms that I saw recently that I wasn't familiar with is TOAD. Have you heard that? TOAD in capital letters. It's an acronym for Trashed Object Abandoned in Disgust. Yeah. So like, we've all been there. We've all felt that where you're just not digging it. You're not feeling it. So you're done. You're done with it. And it either goes away in a corner forever.
I'm out.
Or you do the righteous ripping and then you reclaim the yarn and you're liberated from it. Yeah.
Time out.
I feel like that about a couple of things that I just needed to righteous rip and, be like it never happened. Yeah.
Well, and then do something that brings you joy.
Right. And I think that too often we get hung up like there's guilt associated with that. I'm like, there's no guilt in knitting. That's nonsense. No. You're the one putting all the work and effort into it. You should enjoy the process. You shouldn't have there shouldn't be guilt about tearing out something that you're not digging it. It's not, not flowing, not happening. I tell you what, that brioche though, kicked my butt. Yeah. If you've read in the patron group, the scarf that we're doing the knit along for, I said this in the video. I had trouble. I did a section of tinking to show you how to tink because I needed to tink. It wasn't good. I was just having a day. You've had those days where it's not going well. And I don't know. Things happen.
So what's your fault? Like for me, washcloths or a hat is like my fallback. That's like, so do you guys have a fallback pattern or what's your favorite fallback thing?
Go ahead, Lindsay.
I don't think I have one.
When things just piss you off and they're not going well, do you go back? Huh?
I crochet. I just switch crafts.
Okay. Hey, but that's valid. So that's another knitting term that I ran across. You're bistitual. You crochet and knit both. You're bistitual.
There you go.
I am not. No, I mean, I've often said I can crochet if I need to or wish to, but I don't choose to most of the time.
Don't wish to.
Right, I don't wish to, exactly. But that's a good point. Go do something else for a while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I, like you, I do have fallbacks, and mostly it'll be a vanilla sock. Yeah. Because I don't need a pattern. I just do my thing. I can just knit socks. Yeah.
Knit.
Knit.
That is the best part of a hat, when you finally get done with the ribbing and you could just knit.
But see, you, since we're doing terms, Jill could be on Sleeve Island indefinitely and be perfectly happy with that.
I am. That's what I decided when I could figured out that sock. It is that sock. When I hold it up, it's about 3/4 of a sleeve. I think I'll be perfectly happy with sleeves.
Of course.
Somebody that's really happy with washcloths could be really happy with
sleeves. Sleeve Island is when, for viewers, if you've never heard that term, some people get a little hung up about sleeves, get a little stuck on the sleeves because you're just going round and round and you're doing a little decreases, but people think it's boring. I don't think sleeves are any more boring than the body of a regular cardigan, unless there's quite a bit going on, patterning going on. Okay, show us the sock. You went and got it.
Okay, I went to go get the sock. Look how huge that sock is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. I love it. It is very large. So, if I can do that sock, I can do a sleeve.
Of course you can.
It's sock weight yarn. God bless all of the folks out there that are making sweaters out of sock weight yarn. Wow.
Right. So if you consider how many thousands of stitches are in there, I did that math one time, and if you cast on 72 and you count your rows, there's an average, depending on obviously depending on the gauge, but if you are considering there's approximately 30-ish rows for about 2 inches.
How many rows did you do?
So that's about 210 stitches, 220 stitches for 2 inches.
We do math.
Sure we do.
Yes. Is there a term for that?
Knitter math? Nerd math? Knitter math?
If you did 64 rows.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
I cast on 72 because of Jana's sock calculator. Worked all that out. So 72, and I did it. The leg of the sock has 65, I believe, and then I think it's 15 or 17. So there's like 82 rows times 72. So there's almost 5,900. There's almost 6,000 stitches just in this part.
Sure. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Right.
Yeah. And that, you know what? And that actually the foot is probably.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying.
It's not longer than the leg.
I was gonna say, and then if you consider the heel flap and all that, and the gusset, so it's 10 to 12,000 stitches for a sock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can knit a sweater totally.
I can knit a sweater.
Absolutely.
I just need to not do my job.
I know.
Same.
You were talking about your fallback, and I was talking about
Oh yes,
a vanilla sock. A vanilla sock, or things that you can knit while watching a show. And we all call it Netflix knitting, or I do, but there is actually the term knitflix. But I feel like knitflix is the term for a show that you might watch while you're knitting. But Netflix knitting refers to the actual project that you could do because it's conducive to not having to pay attention that much.
I don't know if there's anything that I don't knit while I watch Netflix.
There's everything that I knit while I don't watch Netflix.
Like I will say, there are things. I agree, Lindsay. There's stuff that I might not remember the show, but I will knit anything while I watch TV. But I might not remember the show very much. It depends what it is, because like my mother's sweater, for example, you got to pay attention.
Yeah, but I think I can pay attention to both pretty well. Well, that's true. You cannot.
I cannot. I know that about myself, and that's why I have something like the Second Avenue, which is just knit and purl and knit.
Well, I think that when you get into more complicated patterns, you'll find out. It also depends on your ability to be okay with your mistakes, if there are mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some things that I'm not willing to do while I watch a show, just because maybe I don't want to split my attention that much,
Yeah.
So yeah, the brioche, there's a couple of things in that I made a mistake with because I wasn't paying attention. It was my own fault. I mean, when I say it kicked my butt, it's because I wasn't paying attention.
Well, it's kind of like, when you're driving someplace and you just go there all the time, that you just keep doing it. Do you ever just knit and realize, oh, I needed to stop like 4 rows ago?
Yes. Yeah, totally. Oh, absolutely. So then there's, now what did you call that giant shawl? When we were chatting a little before we started recording, we were talking about how a shawl can be, depending on the shape and the design and whatever, it can be a socially acceptable blanket.
Yes, which is awesome, because I'm always cold and it's fantastic. And I love the fall and winter because you can do that. And I was with my knitter friends this week, and she said, oh my gosh, that is the most wonderful. It's a schlanket.
Schlanket. A schlanky.
Schlanky. So she was talking about the one friend finished the fading point, which is gorgeous.
Finished it. Wow.
Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's pretty enough that mine might come out of timeout. So we'll see.
I'm kind of wanting to knit that. Maybe we'll have to do that.
It's pretty.
Huh. I don't know.
So anywho,
cool.
That's my whips and fobs.
And Lindsay, I know that you don't have very many whips going on right now, but
I don't really have any because I'm not really knitting because my hand is asleep. Like constantly.
Tell everybody why.
Well, because I am 30 weeks pregnant. Mm-hmm. And I guess your hand just quits working. It happened with my mom when she was pregnant every time. It happened with my grandma when she was pregnant both times.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that pregnancy-induced carpal tunnel.
Yeah,
never heard
a good friend of mine who's not a knitter and just a friend. She has had pregnancy carpal tunnel since she was like 10 weeks pregnant. Wow. And I think she's 24, 25 weeks, and it's not gone away at all.
I wonder why. I wonder what it is that causes that.
I asked.
Of course.
Relaxin, the hormone that makes everything hurt.
Because it loosens up all of your joints.
Yeah, it loosens up everything, and then you just feel like you're dying all the time.
The hormone that makes everything hurt.
Right. If they're like, oh, it's just your body getting ready, like everything's relaxing. I'm like, well, it doesn't feel like it's relaxing. It feels like I'm broken. So like in this area, releases, mm-hmm. and because your arm's so important to labor, and so carpal tunnel. So I've had carpal tunnel surgery on this hand, and when I had it on this hand, they wanted to do both hands, but I would have missed like 18 weeks of work, which was obviously way too much work to miss.
Right.
And so they only did my one hand. Well, what I learned with that, basically they're like the tendon, it pushes on it, and that's causes like the nerve function to decrease.
Right.
And so when you're loosening up like in here, it just, I don't know why you have to loosen up there, but you do. Because it's the hormone that makes everything.
Because the hormone is not discerning where it travels, apparently.
No. And so, but like my mom and grandma both had it, so it doesn't surprise me. I wonder if I would have had surgery on both hands if I wouldn't have it. Mm. Because this hand is fine.
Huh.
Like, I have no issues with this hand.
You need to get a knitting belt and then knit the other way.
I could try that.
What's a knitting belt?
Where you like put the thing on and you stick the needle in it and you just use this hand.
Okay, so it's a pouch that's a leather envelope. It's an oval, and it's usually, traditionally, it would be stuffed with horsehair. And then there's a half-inch belt that goes around your waist, and so then you use a really long, like a 16-inch double-pointed needle with it. And the pouch has all these holes in the leather, so it depends on the angle that you prefer or the positioning that you prefer, and you put one end of the double pointed needle down into that, and then so it takes the weight of the knitting, and then it supports that big needle, and then that's your one double point. You work with the other double points. So it's a traditional Fair Isle, Scandinavian, Shetland. Well, you see them a lot, like Hazel Tyndall in the Shetland Isles. A lot of, and they're fast. People that use knitting belts can be super fast. But it takes a lot of the stress and strain and the weight from your hands because you're not holding up the work. It's ergonomically better.
I also think because I type all day,
right?
So my hand is flat. I sleep on my left side,
yes.
So I wake up and my left hand is asleep. And then I start knitting, and it's 5 minutes in, it's my fingertips are numb, and then 10 minutes in, my whole hand is numb.
Wow.
And it's the kind of numb where your fingernails hurt. Because it's so numb, but you can still feel your fingernails. Yeah, it's awful. It's horrible.
It sounds awful. So now you haven't been knitting lately.
I've been trying, and the more I try, the more it hurts.
That's it. Can you crochet?
No, it hurts worse to crochet.
Sewing. You can sew.
I could sew. My sewing machine is currently in our bedroom facing a wall, and I just like to be watching something when I sew, and the wall is not the something that I want to watch. So
you put a little shelf for your iPad.
I just need to bring my sewing machine downstairs because I have a couple things that I would like to be sewing, but my sewing machine's just not in an ideal location right now.
All right, where are we at in our list?
Your whips.
Whose whips? Oh, I have. Oh gosh.
Your whips and your fobs and.
Okay, I have
lots
of
What are you doing?
Whips. We talked about this at Patron Knit Night. Okay.
That we both missed.
Oh, that's right. All right, so my mother's sweater. We had this whole thing.
Are you doing your mom's sweater again?
Yes. All right. So let me tell you what the deal was
excited.
with that. Okay, my mom and I were talking about the sweater that I'm making for her, and I have the pattern right here on my desk because I've been working on it, and it's from Vogue Knitting, 1994. And the whole pattern, you'd love it, Lindsay. It's not charted.
Oh, I love a written pattern.
It's number 20. And the whole thing is this right here. That's it.
That's the whole pattern?
This does not apply. That's for the previous page. Well, there's these paragraphs here at the bottom part of this page, and then it does go over here. So this part as well. But there's no charts, and you're supposed to figure it all out from those paragraphs. So it's been a pain in the...
I was going to say, how do you feel about that?
So was the problem, and I've said this before on the podcast. I'm backing up because I have it currently in my middle desk drawer to keep it safe at night because of the cats.
Lockdown.
And but it's getting too big for this, so I'm gonna have to put it in a bag.
Oh.
So here's the thing. I've said this before. The different pattern repeats. The problem is that the cabled section here is every 10 row repeats.
And the other one is, yeah.
This is every 4 rows, and this other lace section, this lace panel right here, is a 16 row repeat. So it's not easy to keep track of where you are. So we were looking at it, and I had it in timeout for quite a while, and she was over, and she started reading back to me like, okay, you have a knit 2, purl 2, I can see a knit 2 together, a slip knit. We were trying to determine what row I was on in each of those columns. Couldn't figure it out. And because there was a couple places that were pulled, we ripped it. We probably ripped 14 inches. Right. So this is round 2.
When did you do that?
A couple weeks ago. Something.
Do you have a picture of what it looks like finished?
Yes. Yeah. Let me find the page.
That's pretty.
Oh.
And it's made of cotton fleece from Brown Sheep Company. and it's cotton and wool blend. So I think it's 80-20. I'm not sure. I don't have the yarn label right here because I'm on my second skein, and there's just that much left of it from when we frogged it. So I'm about back to the yarn that's never been knit before. There needs to be a term for that, you know, like deja vu. Like here you are.
Oh yeah. So when you ripped out and then you finally get back to that part.
And finally get back to the part that's never the yarn that's never been knit before.
Yes.
And then it's like it all never happened. Like the frogging and the reknitting, like it's never happened. There's got to be a term for that.
One of our friends out there somewhere has it. So stick it in the comments.
Yes. Put it in the comments. There has
so
to
I know what to call it.
I just found a mistake. And I'm going to have to tear back because I can't live with that. Oh, here was it. There's an inadvertent yarn over. I noticed it. Look right here.
Yeah.
That does not belong. Yeah, I'll be frogging back to that. Somehow. Okay, so that's one thing. You know, working on the Norah's Afghan block of the month. So, which at the time we're recording that, I'll be uploading block 10 probably tomorrow. So that will have already happened. Huh?
Halfway.
Yes, halfway. True. And so that's all I need to do on that is the edge at the top, the garter stitch at the top.
Pretty.
So that's block 10. And I have to say this, and I've said that I will say this in the video for that. This has been one of the easiest ones. Totally. Because it's only a 4-row repeat. In fact, I used the chart the first one, and then I haven't used the chart at all for the whole rest of it. Because it's easier. It's easy. And then, you know, I have socks. So yeah, big feet too. So toe up, my customizable toe up pattern. This is Berroco Sox. And then I have another pair of socks that I was doing that's cuffed down. Because, well, I had, you know, ones to show toe up, cuff down for at the retreat. So this one's cuffed down.
I love that yarn.
I like those.
Yeah, this is Knit Picks Felici. Is that how you say that? Felici? Okay. It's just
I like that a lot.
Yeah, and I'm on the toe. And what else? Oh, I have the second mitt. I got to finish the thumb on this one.
I like that color. That is a really pretty color.
Yeah.
What yarn is that?
This is Socks That Rock, medium weight, 100% superwash merino, medium weight.
That's pretty.
So I just need to pick up the thumb. Oh, I thought that was something. That's a yarn bit from something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I just need to pick up the and the thumb's like 10 rows. I mean, that's easy. So number 2 of that. What else? There's some other stuff in hibernation, but it's going to have to be in hibernation for a while. So
I have fabric that will be project bags.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Christmas or not?
It's not Christmas, but it looks kind of Christmassy.
Oh, now I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That patterned with like this gray. So
pretty.
Nice.
I have a couple project bags to do, so I have a couple pieces of fabric.
So other knitting terms that were new to me this week?
Yes.
Nitty litter.
What's nitty litter?
Nitty litter is debris that collects around you when you're knitting. For example, you know, little tidbits of yarn.
Yeah.
All these little containers that have, you know, that have things that you need to have just accessible. Just little bits of things that collect.
You know what I have a lot of near me? Little ball.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah, so do you have ideas for those?
Huh?
Do you have ideas for those?
No.
Gnomes! You could knit gnomes.
I'm not really a gnome person.
Okay.
They're cute. I just don't.
You could do the little mitered square blanket.
Mm-hmm.
I could.
You could send them to me.
You could have them. This one came from you.
Okay. I'm always up for people sending me scraps.
I have a lot of scrap yarn.
Especially sock yarn. See, I don't have a lot of use for like worsted weight scraps, but
Those
I would.
Those are all sock scraps.
Sock scraps, because I'm doing the sock yarn blanket. So, yeah.
Is there a term for like what happens to your house when you're trying to finish a project? Like when you go all in,
Yes.
trying to get it done?
The term is procrastinate. Where you don't do anything else but knit. You procrastinate everything else.
Yep.
Like the laundry piles up, people can do their own dishes, people can feed themselves.
It does.
You're procrastinating.
That's funny.
Yes. I had heard that one before, but yes, that's the term for that. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The other one that I had not heard. Now, we know what UFO is, unfinished object, UFO.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I knew that.
But do you know what the UFO syndrome is? UFO syndrome is
where
when
you keep starting a bunch of new projects and
yes,
never get them.
because the urge to start a new project becomes so overwhelming, despite however many whips you have.
Right around me, not that I'm knitting on any of them, are 4. That I like 4 unfinished objects that I was like, I know I haven't finished this, but let's start this one instead.
Yeah, that's the UFO syndrome.
I have that.
Yeah. Fraternal twins are when you have socks that don't necessarily match, but they're complementary, and that's fine. Like people that knit stripy socks, like on the second one, when I start the second one, there's a lot of people that would actually go to the second skein and try to cast on it the exact same gray stripe.
My knitter friends do.
Yeah, I don't care.
I will have to.
No, I just start wherever. No, I don't care if they match.
Why do you feel like you have to?
They can be fraternal twins.
I want to.
Why?
Okay.
Well, I mean, if that's your preference, but I don't care that much. I'm okay with fraternal twins.
Fine.
That's why gyms are speckled.
So it doesn't matter.
So then it doesn't matter.
So I think everybody knows what FOB, KAL, knit along, stash beyond life expectancy is sable. KUI is knitting under the influence. Never a good thing.
Done that.
Uh-huh.
I have friends that have done that.
And then they like wake up and realize.
Well, actually, it wasn't really. She hadn't been drinking. She had surgery. She'd had surgery, and then she came back home and thought that she was well enough to knit.
Under the influence of anesthesia.
And so the next time she went, she had to hide her knitting because she thought that she was fine enough to knit.
Maybe not.
Like all sorts of wonky.
Yeah.
Mail is the mail when you get something good in the mail. Squishy mail.
Squishy mail. Yeah.
Squishy mail is the best mail.
I feel like hibernating and procrastinating go hand in hand.
Yeah. It's hibernating where you just like bury yourself.
The rest of the world, you do nothing but knit. Hibernating. And you procrastinate while you're hibernating. Yeah, for sure.
Everything else.
Mm-hmm. Do you know of any others? Well, then there's the standard ones like, pool.
Dash busting.
That when you're going around knitting in the round and you have colors that pool or collect together. And then I didn't really understand the difference between pooling and puddling.
Me either.
So apparently you're going to say something, Jill. Go ahead.
So I did something with Malabrigo once. And it didn't really pool because to me a pool, like I sometimes you see pooling in the middle of a sweater.
Right.
This was a different project, and it was just like this dark spot on one side. Yeah. On the baby blanket.
Right.
It was like a puddle in a corner.
Okay, so on these fingerless mitts, I think this is pooling. That's pooling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the stitch count changed because of the thumb gusset. So I got some stripes up here, but I got pooling down here. And this was just a random skein that was a second. And there's a couple of spots that like it was labeled as a second because there's a couple of actual white spots where the dye didn't take. And so that was fine. I mean, this was going to be like farm wear. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I just wanted it to be something functional and warm for when I walk in the winter or whatever. So I think this is pooling. Whereas this is like you're like puddling. Bam. See? And then this is pooling down here.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
The pooling has like more of a pattern.
Yeah. like it's still a swirl.
Yeah.
Anyway, this pattern, by the way,
I like that.
is, I'll have to look it up and put it in the description below, but I want to say they're called Pioneer mitts or something like that. I had that one on the wrong hand. What I liked about it was the thumb gusset. So I liked how the gusset was created here. Yeah. With the ribbing intact.
It's kind of like the one that we did at the retreat. Like I like when it like breaks the ribbing.
Yeah, this is the pattern from the retreat. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I just think that looks cool.
That's the thumb gusset there. I just haven't knit the thumb yet. But yeah, I like that too. Anyway, cool. So pooling and puddling, that was the difference. That was kind of different. But then, we have all these things that have double meanings, like cakes and Swift. Yeah.
What'd you say?
A cake.
After cake.
Swift.
Oh, Swift. They said Swift. I'm like, what's a Swift?
Yeah. I don't know. I think everything else was pretty well known to me already. Or they're just abbreviations, they're like standard pattern abbreviations or whatever. So yeah. Some of those were the funniest one though that was new to me was the toad. Was the trashed object abandoned in disgust.
That's funny.
I want to know like people's local ones, like Schlanket. What are your favorite ones? Like that shawl that's big enough to be a blanket. It's your Schlanket.
Socially acceptable blanket. I love that. I have a couple of those.
Yeah.
I wore my cozy winter to our 4-H achievement night. And it was like the big 4-H hall at the fairgrounds. And it's a pretty big building. And it was a little chilly in there. And I had taken it off because we were eating and I didn't want to get like food on my cozy winter shawl. But it was lovely because I just folded it up and I put it on my chair and I sat on it. It was like a little pad,
A bum warmer.
Yeah, it was a bum warmer. And then it was warm when I took it out from under my tush and put it on. That was nice.
That's funny.
It's awesome. Right. So we're wrapping it up. But what I want to talk about real quick is we're cruising into the Christmas season. After we're done with our brioche scarf knit along that's going on now, I have one more upload where I'll show how I'm going to, finish it off, cast off and all that. But that's going to be, I have to knit through it. And then, scarf takes a little while and brioche is apparently not my favorite. So I might make friends with it. We'll see. I don't know. A lot of people love it. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because it doesn't come as easily to me or I don't pay attention well enough. That could be. So after that, though, I want to start a little Christmas knit along, and I have some ideas about that I'll put in the patron group for everyone to consider and vote on. One of those are tiny little sock ornaments that are like color work, but they're little. They're cute and little. They're super cute. So, as well as like the ornaments, the traditional bauble. But I thought the tiny little
bauble. That's just fun to say.
Bauble. Right. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. That will be a knit along coming up. Right. So if you have thoughts on that, join the patron group and tell me. But leave a comment down below, as Jill suggested, for your what terms?
Regional knitting terms.
And what do you call it when you get back to the yarn that you haven't knit yet? When it's like deja vu and
virgin yarn.
Right, but what do you call the deja vu kind of knitting deja vu thing where it's like the whole mistake never happened and you're back to where you were and you can be in denial, plausible deniability about what occurred.
What were you going to say, Jill?
No, the exact same thing.
She wanted to remind me to tell people to leave a comment.
Because I need to know what to call it. I like virgin yarn.
You get back to the virgin, but what's the process? What is that moment when you get back to the virgin yarn? We'll have to ponder that.
Tell us,
Okay, so you put the fading point in timeout, or did you actually rip it?
No, it's actually in there.
Okay.
I didn't rip it. It's just sitting in there.
It's sitting. That's okay.
And I thought I was going to rip it. I just hadn't ripped it yet. And then my knitter friend put hers on, and it's beautiful. It's so pretty.
And your yarn is pretty.
The yarn is very pretty. It's very pretty. I need some more time.
So-
I'm looking forward to the after holidays when I can just hunker down and hibernate.
Hibernate. I like snowstorms for hibernating.
Yes.
Yep. Where I have an excuse not to go anywhere.
I like snowstorms for nothing.
Oh, but I get to have an excuse to not go anywhere because I can just tell
Great.
people I can't get out my road.
That's great. I hate snow. I don't think it's pretty.
Really?
I think it gets ugly so fast.
Well, maybe if you live in town.
And I hate being cold.
Knit faster. Stay
Die
warm.
warmer.
Oh yeah.
You should try the knitting belt thing. Really.
I should.
Okay. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Like I'm a Newscaster, right? Okay, I'm going to count it down. I'm going to be like 5, 4,
We can't listen while you wrap it up.
and then Lindsay's going to wrap it up.
No.
Well, don't make fun of me then.
I didn't make fun of you. I was just the way you said it. Like, thanks for joining us on Channel 10 News. We'll see you tomorrow night at 10.
Where we won't have snow.
Right.
Because Lindsay.
Or a weatherman. I feel like the weatherman just left Channel 10. But anyway.
No. Well, what we will say to wrap it up is we're looking forward to the knitting, finishing up our brioche scarf. That's the current knit along. We're going to have the Christmas ornaments of some kind. The patrons will decide, and then we'll announce that in the larger Facebook group. So if you haven't joined the social media groups over on Ravelry, that's what I wanted to say. The next knit along, I'm going to do some giveaway prizes. We're going to have like a finished objects thread, and then we'll have prizes for those that actually finish. And those prizes could be a pattern download of your choice from Ravelry. It could be yarn. It could be, well, I don't know. I'll decide. But you need to join the Ravelry group to have that happen, because I feel like the forum boards on Ravelry, they're threaded, and it's so much easier to keep track of finished objects than it is on the Facebook group. It's really, you can't really sort things out on the Facebook group. You can't have a thread for this and a thread for that, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So in the Ravelry group, it's much easier. So when we do the knit along giveaways, that will be on the Ravelry group. So if you haven't joined Purl Together on Ravelry, go do that. Links are down below. All right. Thanks for joining us. Till
Happy
next
knitting.
time.